Lord, I just finished watching the second episode of Candace's new investigative series, Bride of Charlie. I am sad. And I'm like, who can I talk to about this? There's so many people in the comments and like on the social media, like, who can I talk to about this? You can talk to me. You can talk to me. If you don't have anyone to talk to about this new Candace series, welcome to the Ratchet Christian because we're going to talk about it. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Asmao and I am the Ratchet Christian. I'm usually doing a video like every 2 weeks, but I want to change that. I want to start going live more often so I can get to know you guys, so you guys can get to know me. So, yeah, let's just jump right into it. I'm very conflicted about, saying the things that I want to say, which I always am. Anytime I'm afraid to say something, I just make sure that I go ahead and say it because I never want to let fear control me or the fear of man control me. If you've spent any time on this channel, a couple months ago, I had the pleasure of, going to AmFest, spending some time with Turning Point USA. And so for me, I've gotten to know some of the people who work there personally. And this is nothing against the people who work there that I have gotten to know. You know what I mean? Very nice people, very good people, treated me with so much dignity and respect in the time that I spent with Turning Point. And so the employees themselves, the ones that I met, were just your average person, doing a job. That they loved with a controversial place. And I my heart goes out to them. Anytime I talk about Turning Point USA, like, I just always do my best to be mindful of like the people that I did get to know and the people that I did meet, because it's like I never want to offend them, but at the same time, like, I still want to speak my mind. I know how I feel about what happened to Charlie, and my heart breaks about what happened to Charlie. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like we're getting all the answers. And so I'm glad that Candace is doing the work to make sure that we get to the bottom of the answers. And so, yeah, I went to AmFest. I was there when they had the whole tent set up, recreating Charlie's, ask me a question or whatever that the tent used to be called. And the moment that I saw it, I didn't have the greatest feeling about it. And so to come home and to see the people also felt the same way, I'm like, okay, like, my instincts about that were pretty good. And so even with me, when at AmFest, when Erika came out to speak, I also didn't have the best feeling about it. It just kind of felt like, okay, my husband's dead and now we have to get JD Vance to be president. It's like, now wait a minute, now can we just focus on Charlie for a second? I went to AmFest and I felt like Charlie was for sale, and it broke my heart. I didn't really start listening to him until after he passed away. I'm more of a Candace Owens fan. I feel like I can get the same thing from Candace that I could get from Charlie, so I didn't quite listen to him. But it's like, I always respect people who are brave and will speak their mind. And so, yeah, after he passed away, I got to spend time with Turning Point. I went to AmFest, felt like, Charlie was for sale and not really being celebrated. I'm sure everybody there was doing their best, but yeah, I don't love the direction that Turning Point is going. I really don't. And I just have to be honest about that. Although, I spent some time with them in December. The employees treated me great. They were amazing to me. They really, really were. This is nothing against the people who work there. I'm just talking about the people up top, like the management and the direction of the company that it's going. Um, so the way I feel about what happened to Charlie Kirk is the same way that Candace feels about it. I'm not buying the official narrative. I feel like within the conservative community, you kind of have to dislike Candace Owens if you want to still be in with the in crowd. You know what I mean? And so for me, I don't like that. I don't get behind that because Candace was doing this before it was easy. Before it was easy to be a black conservative, and it's still not easy now. It's still not easy now to be a black person that's not a Democrat. It's still not easy. But Candace was doing it when it was very, very unpopular, when it was shameful to be a black conservative. And so now to see people who she's opened the door for, like, turn their back on her, I don't like that. I'm not one of those people. You're not going to get me to say I don't like Candace Owens until she does something I don't like. But as of right now, I'm a fan. And I think it's beautiful to see people embracing her. And so this is just a very long beginning, very long intro to say all that to say that I'm watching my girl's investigative series. First of all, I've watched all her series. I watched the Kamala Chronicles. I watched the Becoming Brigitte season 1 and 2. So it's like I watch Candace. So of course I'm gonna watch this series about Erika because it's just like I have similar questions too. I have similar questions too. And I was talking to my husband about the first episode. So the first episode recap, if you don't watch it, recap of the Bride of Charlie. Basically, she starts it out. Candace Owens starts it out by reading this tweet that somebody had written about Erica Kirk, and it was on point. You know what I mean? The way that she described, how people who are social climbers, people who are in the entertainment industry. I myself am in the entertainment industry, so I know social climbers. I'm around social climbers. I've called myself used to be a model. I've done acting. I'm a comedian now, so it's like you're around people who use people for the opportunity. So that is something that I'm familiar with, and so that when she read that long a tweet from that woman kind of describing like antisocial behavior, psychopathic behavior, I was just like, okay, that's pretty good. And going into the history of like her grandparents, great grandparents being Swedish, and then also have Syrian, and having a gambling background and a military background. Like, listen, y'all gonna have to learn to just leave Candace Owens alone. Leave Candace Owens alone. Leave 50 Cent alone. Leave those two people alone. If there's anything that we should know now by a society, is that those are two people who you don't want to have issues with because they're in it for the long game. They will see it through. They will see a beef through to the end. And add Cameron to that list too. Cameron is like that, and I think Mace is as well. But yeah, so I watched episode 1 of the series. If you haven't, definitely do, because I'm going to be keeping up with it on here on this channel. um and when I got home, I was talking to my husband about it because he had watched the episode 1 of Bride of Charlie, and I asked him this question when we were talking about this, and I was like, you know what, like, I feel like if they wanted to get rid of Charlie Kirk, they could have very easily made it look like an accident. They could have poisoned him. He could have gotten into a car accident. He could have, like, um something that wasn't quite as public. Why did they have to do what they did to Charlie Kirk so publicly? Because there are ways to get rid of somebody that's not public. And I was speculating with my husband last night, and I was like, I think it's because they wanted to have maximum impact. They wanted to be able to ride the wave of what happened to Charlie Kirk all the way up until 2028. They wanted to ride that wave of, look, conservatives, look at what the Democrats did. Charlie Kirk was unalived by a gay, furry, trans person. They are our enemy. Stick with us. We're going to keep you safe. Stick with Trump. Stick with JD Vance. We can't let the Democrats get back in power because of, look at what they did to Charlie Kirk. It's like, okay, that's great and all, but it doesn't look like they were the ones that did that to Charlie Kirk. I don't think that the powers that be, whoever did what they did to him, I don't think they ever thought that we would question the narrative. I don't think they would ever thought that they would see the day when the left and the right come together to figure out what happened to this man. I love the fact that Democrats are like, look, I don't like Charlie Kirk. I don't even like Candace Owens, but I want to know what happened to him because I don't believe the narrative. You know what I mean? I love that conservatives also, some of us, being like, we don't believe the official narrative about what happened to him. And so I think the powers that be did what they did to Charlie very publicly because they wanted him to be the martyr to carry us into this wave of like, now we're going to elect JD Vance. JD Vance is still going to have to earn my vote. I think he's been very quiet lately and been very quiet strategically. He's been quiet about the Epstein files. He's been quiet about what happened to Charlie Kirk. He doesn't want to be associated with anything that could ruin his run for presidency. But I'm like, but you're the vice president right now. You could be doing something right now. And that's the reason why Kamala didn't earn my vote. When she was, campaigning, talking about all the things that she was going to do when she's in office, I was just like, but you're in office right now. And what are you doing? Nothing. So if you can't be a good vice president, I'm not going to trust that you're going to be a good president. So this whole strategic thing about him laying low, I don't like. This whole thing of like, oh, we have to get him elected because of what happened to Charlie, I don't like, especially when I feel like the administration is not doing everything that they need to do to get down to the real bottom of it, which I'm sure they already know what happened. They're not going to tell us. They're not going to tell us. They know. They know, and perhaps, maybe allegedly, they were a part of it. I believe they were. And this is an administration that I voted for. I believed in Trump. I believed in the Trump administration. It's just kind of sad to kind of see them going down bad. It's embarrassing. I risked a lot. I risked a lot of friendships, relationships to be outspoken about my political views, and to kind of see it not pan out and people do the I told you shows, or oh, that's what you get, and this and this and that. And it's like, I'm going to give Trump his full 4 years, and at the end of those full 4 years, if I regret voting for him, I will say it. But as of right now, we're midway through, and I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed about how they're handling the whole thing. I'm very disappointed about how they're handling Charlie Kirk, because he deserved so much better. There was no better conservative than him. And to see how they're dragging their feet and solving his murder, it makes me upset. So I'm really glad that he had a friend in Candace who is doing the due justice to make sure that he gets his justice. And we're going to continue to keep track of this series. If you need somebody to be like, who am I going to talk to about this with? It's me. So that's just a little tidbit, just jumping on here talking about that. My husband's home, so I'm going to go be a wife now. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.